Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so Vinita Mataji, are we chanting one round in the beginning of the class?
Mataji, one round is taking a lot of time. Today I saw in Govinda, maybe 21 times, whatever you used to do before, right?
Okay. So let's do 21 times the chanting of the Maha Mantra. Who wants to volunteer for that? So one person would do, and everyone else will also do on mute. But we will hear only one person. Smriti, wonderful Smriti. Yeah, go ahead, Smriti, and you can chant 21 times with devotion and attention, and with a prayer that please engage me in your service.
Yes, Mataji. Can you hear me, Mataji?
Yes, Smriti, we can hear you. And everyone also please chant. If you can turn on your videos, at least for chanting, it will be great. I can see you all chanting. Then we can, everyone, we can see you chanting, but we will hear Smriti chanting when we'll chant along. Smriti, you can start now.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you, Mataji.
Wonderful, Smriti. Thank you so much. So chanting is a very, very important devotional service that we need to practice since we are very young. Okay, so we will try and do one round. It wouldn't take more than 10 minutes, but we will practice. First, this we have been doing 21 times. Maybe we will do 51 and then we can go to one round slowly. Okay, so today we are seeing the 16th chapter. So let me share the screen for the 16th chapter, and at least you can all recite the verses, seeing the screen and till the verses that we have done. That is 16.1, 16.2, 16.3, 16.4, and 16.21. Divyansh, welcome Divyansh. We were missing you so long.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Which grade are you in now?
8.
8? Wow. Your voice seemed to have changed a little bit. You're growing into a young man now, right?
Yeah.
Nice to hear you, Divyansh. Okay, so we are in the 16th chapter. Let me share the screen. Okay, 16.1. Who would like to recite? Yes, Vrinda. I was hoping whether you're there or not.
Shri Bhagavan Vacha Abhayam Sadva Samsade Jnana Yoga Vavastita Anandamashta Yagnashta Swadhyaya Stabhajavam.
Wonderful, Vrinda. Thank you so much. Tulasi Manjari, can you do the second verse?
Yes, Mataji. Ahimsa Satyamakrodas Tyaga Shantira Paishunam Daya Bhuteshva Aloluptvam Mardavam Hirachapalam.
Very good. Third verse. Mukund, would you like to chant?
Yes, Mataji. Tejo Kshama Dhritir Saucham Adroho Nati Manita Bhavanti Sampadam Devim Abhijatasya Bharata. Thank you, Mataji.
Very good, Mukund. And who would like to read the translation? Smriti, would you like to read the translation?
Yes, Mataji. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity, simplicity, non-violence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault-finding, compassion for all living entities, freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, and freedom from envy and passion for honor. These transcendental qualities, O son of Bharata, belong to godly men endowed with divine nature.
Beautiful, Smriti. Thank you. So I'm going to ask you questions from this translation. Can you tell me the three freedoms that one has to achieve for divine nature?
Freedom from anger, freedom from envy, and freedom from covetousness.
Wonderful. So freedom from anger, freedom from covetousness. What do you mean by covetousness? You can Google and tell me.
Marked by inordinate desire for wealth or possessions for another's possessions.
Just
Yes.
greedy. You want somebody else's things.
Exactly. Covetousness is you may not really want it, but if somebody else has it, you want it no matter what. So that is having a craving for possession, covetous of power like that. So we should get freedom from that, freedom from anger, freedom from envy, and the passion for honor. These are transcendental qualities. Okay, what should one have aversion to?
Fault finding.
Can you explain that a little bit, Smriti?
Like one person should not say if he even like there's some kind of people there's I remember once there's three kinds of people. The first kind of person, he finds good and bad, second finds good even in bad, and third person finds bad in good. Even though somebody has so many good qualities, you will always, oh, he does chanting, he does 64 rounds every day, and on Ekadeshi he does a 100 rounds. But all you would find is, oh, he eats too much. He'll eat 20 samosas if you let him. That's always what you'll think. And then if one devotee, oh, she'll wake up at 2:30 every day and do deity worship. But then you'll think, oh, she is a terrible cook. Whatever she'll eat tastes like tires.
Wonderful. How old are you, Smriti?
10, Mataji.
10. Where are you living?
Charlotte.
Oh, Charlotte. Okay. Yes, so nice. Are you Charu Mataji's daughter?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, I heard about you and your mom. Wonderful. That's very nice. So even though a person may do very wonderful things, we tend to find the fault, right? What is the fault? So that we should have aversion to that. Means if you're finding fault, we should say, what is this? How bad it is. Aversion means something that you don't like with great distaste. Is there something that you don't like to eat, Mukund?
Yes, Mataji. I don't like to eat. Let me ask the name of it from my mom.
Okay.
Yeah, I hate sattu ke parathe.
Okay. So even if you're hungry and if I give you that to eat, what would you do, Mukund?
If I'm super hungry, I would eat it. Otherwise, I would not.
Right. So you have an aversion for that, right? Yeah, that shows that we are all individual people. Somebody likes something, somebody doesn't like something. That means that we are individual persons and personalities, and that is good. That's a proof that you can't explain why you don't like it. Can you explain? You can't explain, right? Why you like something and why you don't like something. So that is true. So when we have, imagine we should have an aversion to fault finding like that. If somebody is finding fault, then we should have an aversion to that. No, I'm not going to do that. Just like how we hate to eat things that we don't like. Great. Okay, so we'll go to the next verse. Who can read this verse?
Mataji, can I read it?
Yes. Let me give chance. Did you read it, Smriti, before? No, you read only the translation.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and read this verse. And Divyansh, maybe you can read the translation.
दम्भोदर्पोऽभिमानश्च क्रोधपारुष्यमेव च अज्ञानं चाविमातस्य पार्थसम्पदम् आश्रितम्.
Very good. Divyansh, can you read the translation?
Pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance. These qualities belong to those of demoniac nature, O son of Radha.
Thank you, Divyansh. So you see, these, if we have any of these, then we have the demoniac nature. So we need to see. And Krishna is saying that these are the qualities born or belong to those of demoniac nature. Okay, and then we did text 21. It's a very beautiful chapter, but he explains that what is meant by demoniac thinking, how people will think when they are demoniac, what is the result of that, how they look into the world and all those things. Then we have text 21. Last week we did. Anybody who has not read the shloka so far, would you like to read text 21? Tulasi Manjari. Okay, you
Yes,
read.
Mataji.
Yes. Okay, if no one else is there, you can read the shloka.
Trivid त्रिविधं नरकस्येदं द्वारं नाशनमात्मनः कामक्रोधस्तथा लोभस्तस्माद् एतत् त्रयं त्यजेत्.
Wonderful. Okay, can someone read the
Mataji, you went on mute. Can someone read the translation? Tulsi Manjari, go ahead.
Me?
Yes, Tulsi Manjari, go ahead.
These are the 3 gates leading to this hell: lust, anger, and greed. Every sane man should give these up, for they lead to the degradation of the soul.
Yeah. Smriti, do you remember what Mataji taught last time? 3 gates, right?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, can you explain something? Yeah, Mataji is back. Lalitangi Mataji can go.
Thank you, Mataji. So sorry, I had to run to open the front door. Somebody was there and no one is there in the house. So, yeah. Okay. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Smriti. Would you like to explain something that you heard?
Yes, Mataji. So when they said 3 gates leading to hell, they gave picture of 3 elevators, and they said even if you follow one of these, you will automatically go to hell. Like when you go to there's a big shopping mall, and maybe the one pair of stairs may be crowded, so they'll all give 3, and they'll give many stairs, but the ultimate destination is just the top floor. So like that, even if you can do even one of these, you will still go to the same place. And there's a degradation in the soul, and they were talking about like in each hell they do something different to your soul, like they'll beat it, they'll fry it, they'll do all these things to your soul, and it'll really hurt.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Smriti. So that's the reason that we should avoid that. We should avoid having demoniac qualities. Now, we'll see the last chapter of 16th for today. Okay, repeat after me. Tasmat Shastram Pramanam Te.
Tasmat Shastram Praman.
Tasmat Shastram Pramanam Te. Karya Karya Vyavastitau.
Karya Karya
Karya Vyavastita.
Karya Karya Vyavastitau.
Karya Vyavastitau.
Nyatva Shastra Vidanoktam. Nyatva Shastra Vidanoktam.
Gyatva Shastra Vidhanoktam.
Karma Kartum Niharhasi.
Dharma Kartamihayasi.
Karma Kartum Niharhasi.
Kartamihayasi.
Tasmat Shastram Pramanam Te.
Tasmat Shastram Pramanam.
Karya Karya Vyavastitau.
Karya Vyavastitau.
Nyatva Shastra Vidanoktam.
Nyatva
Shastravidhanoktam
Karma Kartum Niharhasi.
Karma Kartum.
Miharhasi.
Okay, so now let's do the synonyms game. Arhasi. What does that mean?
You should.
Good job, Smriti. The regulations. Tell the Sanskrit.
Vidhana.
Good job, Tulasi Manjari. The scriptures.
Sastra.
Good job, Vinita. Duty.
Karma.
Karya. Yeah, good job, Tulasi. Knowing.
Nyatva.
Nyatva. Good job, Smriti. Your.
Te.
Good job, Tulsi Manjari. In this world.
Iha.
Job. And forbidden activities.
Akarya.
Arya.
Yeah.
Job, Divyanj. In determining.
Vyavastito.
Vyavastita. Good job, Divyanj. Evidence.
Brahmana.
Brahmana.
Good job. Therefore.
Tasmat.
Do.
Karta.
Kartum.
Very good. As declared.
Yuktam.
Yuktam.
Okay, good job. So I'm going to tell one line and you need to make a meaningful combination of the word by word meaning. Okay. Tasma chastram pramanam te.
Therefore, the scriptures are some evidence.
Okay, good. Karya vyavastitau.
And they determine your duty and your forbidden, what you should do and what you shouldn't do.
Very good. Nyatva shastra vidhanoktam.
And knowing the scriptures and the regulations.
Yes, knowing the regulations of the scriptures as knowing the regulations as declared in the scriptures. Karma kartum iharhasi.
You should do work in this world.
Good job, Divyansh. You should do work in this. Okay, so who can read the translation? Divyansh, can you read the translation?
Okay, Mataji. One should therefore understand what is duty and what is not duty by the regulations of the scriptures. Knowing such rules and regulations, one should act so that he may gradually be elevated.
Good job, Divyansh. So, how do we understand what is duty and what is not duty?
By reading the scriptures.
Scriptures.
By what the scriptures say, by the regulations of the scriptures. And why should we know such regulations?
So that we'll be elevated.
Very good. So what if we act without knowing the regulations?
Then we will we will go to hell.
Yes, we will not be elevated, right? Because we don't know what is not to be done. So scriptures are something that says us what is to be done and what is not to be done. Okay. Who can read this? Vinita, can you read?
Sure, Mataji. If one understands Krishna from the Bhagavad Gita and becomes situated in Krishna consciousness, engaged himself in devotional service, he has reached the highest perfection of knowledge offered by the Vedic literature.
Yeah, the next one too, please.
Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made his process very easy. He asked people simply to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and to engage in the devotional service of the Lord and eat the remains of foodstuff offered to the deities.
Very good. Thank you, Vinita. So, who has reached the highest perfection of knowledge offered by the Vedic literature? Means Vedas, there are Puranas, there are Itihasas, there are Vedanta Sutras, there are Upanishads. So, but do we have access to all of them? But how do we attain perfection, highest perfection?
By reading the scriptures and following the advice of our Guru Maharaj.
Yes. So what is mentioned here in Bhagavad Gita is that we become situated in Krishna consciousness. And if we are engaged in devotional service, we don't need to exactly know all the rules and regulations that is told in the Vedas. If we do this much, then we are protected. Right? We don't know much. Have you read Vedas? Any of you?
No, Mataji.
I have also not read Vedas, so I don't know how what is told in that and what is not told. But then who has made this process very easy? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay, what are the 3 things that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said we should do?
Chant Hare Mahamantra, engage in devotional service, and eat only food that's offered to the deities and offered to Krishna.
Very good, Smriti. So these are the 3 things if we do, then we are saved from the 3 gates to hell. Right? Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given that process very, very simple and easy to do. Okay, so who can you give me an example of some devotee who followed this and then they attained the Lord?
Prahlad Maharaj and the Sukadeva Goswami.
Prahlad, very good. Prahlad Maharaj and Sukadeva Goswami. Very good, right? So all these people, they have followed this process. Okay, can you give examples of someone who has followed this process, who was a very sinful, but by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started following this process, and then they also attained perfection?
Jagai.
Yes, what is that?
Jagai Matai.
Very good. Jagai Madai, right? So Jagai Madai is a example of how even they were very very degraded, still they were able to get themselves, they didn't go to hell. Why? Because they started chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, serving the devotees, eating only Krishna Prasadam. So they were saved. So these are the examples we have. Okay. So yeah, someone else who has not read so far. Can you read this, Mukund? Are you free?
Mataji, can I read this?
I can read.
Okay. Yeah, Mukund, go ahead, and next slide, Divyansh can read.
For the ordinary persons who are not in Krishna consciousness, what is it to be done and what is not to be done must be decided by the injunctions of the Vedas. That is called following the principles of Shastra or scripture. Shastra is without the 4 principal defects that are visible in the conditioned soul: imperfect senses, the propensity for cheating, certainty of committing mistakes, and certainty of being illusioned. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mukund. Yeah, what is meant by Shastra?
Without the 4 principal defects.
Yes. So Shastra is the is a thing that are the scriptures or that which is without 4 principal defects. So let us look into what are the 4 principal defects. What is the first one mentioned here?
Imperfect senses.
Imperfect senses. Can anyone explain what is imperfect senses?
Means our senses are not pure.
Yes, Balavrinda, our senses are not perfect, right? We want to see so many, we have, sometimes we see the sun, and then but we are seeing the sun so far away, and then we can calculate if we make by your hand, if we make like this, then we'll know, oh, the sun is only this much, right? According to our eyes and according to the distance we see, we measure the sun's thing is within our hand, but sun is not like that, right? So we know, because we know sun is so many distance away and so much so hot. Actually, nobody can go near the sun, first of all, to make an experiment how big the sun, right? So with our sensors, always we are not able to take the right information because they are not perfect. For example, you might see something and you might forget something, right? Have you all experienced that?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah. Eyes, ears, nose. Sometimes we hear something, the teacher told this, and then the teacher said that the assignment due date is say 1st September. But then we might be there, but still we might have heard 1st September, but we might understand it as 2nd September. So sometimes if we don't see, then we don't realize, oh, I made a mistake. Oh, I thought it was like this. So because of the imperfect senses. And the second thing is propensity for cheating. So what does this mean is, everybody is, we want to, although sometimes we want to show that which we are not completely. For example, I know I'm not a perfect devotee, but sometimes I want to show off that, oh, I'm okay. I don't tell like that directly, but I think like that. And I want others to think that I'm a great devotee, or I'm a great, artist, or I'm a great cook, or something like that. So propensity of cheating is, we have the propensity to exaggerate more than what we are, right? That is there in all the conditioned souls. And then certainty of committing mistakes. Is there anyone here among the 8 of us here that can you tell me that you have never committed any mistake so far? No one, right? So day in and day out, we have committed mistakes. Something that we know we should not do. So like that. So that is certainties. There we are certain. Surely we would commit mistakes. And then certainty of being illusioned. Illusion means thinking things that are not there to be true. For example, there may be a shadow. Somebody may be walking and then there may be a shadow. And then if we look only at the shadow, then we think, oh my God, the shadow is moving. Maybe it's a ghost. Wow. And then we are scared, right? So sometimes we are, so many times, I mean, mostly that we mistake the truth to be false and the false to be true. That is called illusion. Okay. Tulsi Manjari, you want to say something? Okay, so these 4 defects are not there in the Shastras. And that is why whatever the Shastras say, we are supposed to take it. Because anything that is produced by man is going to have these defects. But the Shastras like Bhagavad Gita, that comes from the Lord, and who's freed from these defects. So that is why we have to follow the scriptures. Okay. Let's go to the next slide. Divyansh, you wanted to read it. Are you free?
Yes, I can read it, Mataji.
Yes, please go ahead.
Without following the principles of the scriptures, one cannot elevate himself to the perfectional stage. One who actually therefore understands the purport of the sastras is considered fortunate. In human society, aversion to the principles of understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the cause of all fall downs. That is the greatest defense of human life.
Thank you, Divyan. So my question is there an option? I mean, is studying the scriptures or Bhagavad Gita mandatory or is it optional?
I mean, it is optional, but like it's better for you if you do it.
Very good. So what happens if you do it and what happens if you don't read it?
If you like,
Yeah, Divyansh?
if you like, if you like read the scriptures, that if you like read the scriptures, then you'll get to more about Krishna, and then you will be also be like more devoted to Krishna, and you can elevate yourself to the you can like elevate yourself to like the spiritual stages. But
Wonderful.
if you like don't read the scriptures, then you won't get to know much about Krishna consciousness, and you won't be nearly as attached to Krishna, and that's what will like you will be stuck in the material world or worse.
Very good. Divyansh, I like it because when we don't understand this, when we don't read Bhagavad Gita, although it's optional, but the consequences of not reading is very scary. Why? Because we will not know what to be done and what is not to be done, and we will do things that is not to be done, and we'll glide down into very suffering and abominable existence. That's why it is said that if we have the aversion to the principles of understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is a cause of all fall downs. And when we give Bhagavad Gita to people, they say, no, I have it. My grandmother has it. My great grandmother has it. Because they're happy that Bhagavad Gita is for grandmother, but iPhone is for me, right? So no, but Bhagavad Gita is for everyone and we need to read it. And if you don't read it, it is mentioned here that that is the greatest offense of human life. So in one sense, although it is optional, seeing the consequences of not reading it and where we'll end up with. So in a human life, it's mandatory to read it so that we can apply the principles. Okay. Who wants to read the next one? Someone wanted to read. Smriti?
Yes, Mataji. Therefore, Maya, the material energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is always giving us trouble in the shape of threefold miseries. The material energy is constituted of three modes of material nature. One has to raise himself at least to the mode of goodness before the path to understanding the Supreme God can be opened.
Thank you, Smriti. So what are the threefold miseries?
Origin disease.
Birth, death, origin, disease.
That are the four miseries. But it is threefold miseries means based on
Adi Bhavadik, Adhyatmik,
and Adi Daivik.
Adi Daivik.
Very good, Balabrinda. So, depending on the source of the miseries, they are classified into three types. One is Adhyatmik, miseries from our own mind and body. Sometimes the mind would say, oh my God, nobody likes me, my friend hates me, and then the school, everyone are making fun of me, and I am like this, and they are like that. Or, it may not even be true, but the mind will make you, so many thoughts like this will come, and then it will make you feel depressed. So, my miseries from the mind. Then miseries from one's own body. Suddenly you're walking and then you trip and fall down, or something is not functioning properly in the body. You have a headache, stomach ache, fever, right? So one source is from our own body and mind, And the second one is from other living entities near us. Sometimes there are bugs that may bite us, or sometimes we may end up arguing with some close friend, and then we feel very bad about it. Or sometimes um, someone may say something harsh to us, and we are hurt. So, like this way, there are miseries coming from other living entities. Sometimes our near and dear ones, they're undergoing troubles. At that time also, we suffer, right? And who can tell me the source of the third type of misery? Adi Daivika. Adi Daivika means?
Tornadoes.
Tornadoes.
Right, tornadoes. And now there is a heat wave, and then there is snowstorm, and so many things. Sometimes tsunami, sometimes earthquake. So all these things we don't have control over. So this is one of the source of miseries. So why is all this? Who's giving us all this?
Yogamaya.
Who's giving us all this?
Maya.
Why? Is Maya so bad and sadistic that she wants to see us always suffer?
No, she probably she wants to check if we are a true devotee or those weak devotees who they're only doing it for the sake of somebody else.
Wonderful. So this is, we are seeing that whether, because we want to enjoy this material world so much, Maya is keep on reminding us, oops, this is not a place where you can enjoy always. I am here constantly giving you trouble, so that you may understand that there is nothing like going back to Godhead or spiritual world. Okay. So what are the three modes of nature that constitute the material nature?
Goodness, passion, and ignorance.
Very good. Goodness, passion, and ignorance. So when we are in passion and ignorance, can we go to Krishna?
No.
So at least we should rise up to which mode before going to Krishna?
Goodness.
Goodness, yes. So being in goodness is very important. Then we can transcend the modes. Okay. So here more about passion and ignorance. Who wants to read it? Those who have not read it so far. Mukund read, Smriti read, Divyansh read, Tulsi Manjari, Vinita.
Mataji, are you asking to read?
Yeah, read this.
Vrinda can read, Mataji.
Yeah, Balavrinda, you can read.
Mataji, the first line.
No, all the 3 points.
All the 3 points. Okay, Vrindaji.
Those in the modes of passion and ignorance deride the scriptures, deride the holy man, and deride the proper understanding of the Supreme Personality of God. Disobey the instructions of spiritual master, and they do not care for the regulations of the scriptures. If, however, one is able to guide it by a proper and bona fide spiritual master who can lead one to the path of elevation to the higher stage, then one life becomes successful.
Thank you, Vrinda. So, what do the men in the mode of passion and ignorance do?
The men in passion and ignorance, they completely ignore that there's something called scriptures, and they say scriptures. Oh, what is that? Is this a new type of soft drink? and then more in passions, and they think, oh, it's there, but it's not mandatory. It's like those religions, like Christianity is there, but I don't have to do it. I don't have, it's not mandatory. So
Yeah, you're explaining so nicely. That's why I asked you to on your video. I want to see your expressions.
and they completely ignore that, like if there's an I saw like Padmasaki Mataji, she sent in the Govinda group, she sent a drama, and that when there's someone begging, they'll completely ignore them, and they'll say, go, go, you're dismissed, we don't need you here. And then they disobey the instructions of the spiritual master. They don't care about the scriptures. And they think they're the supreme enjoyer. But then they said, but if they're guided by the proper bona fide spiritual master, because then there's different types of spiritual master. Sometimes a father is called the spiritual master, sometimes the proper guru, because in the Bhagavad Gita, they said it has to come from a straight disciplinic succession, straight from God itself. So only if they're from that straight and proper and bona fide spiritual master, then only they can get elevated and to the higher stage, and then life becomes successful.
Wonderful, Smriti. Very, very nicely you described. Very nice. I'm reminded of that. What's her name? Who joins from Australia? Sevia Para. Right? So like that, you are explaining very nicely, Smriti. Wonderful. Yeah. So we need to elevate ourselves from the mode of passion and ignorance and follow the spiritual masters in anyone who knows can raise the hand and they can answer. Okay, what are the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked us to only eat the prasadam offered to the deity. Means he said, just eat prasadam, then you'll go back to Godhead. Did he say that true or false? Raise your hand if you know the answer. Divyansh?
Wait, what was the question again?
The question is, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, if we just eat the remnants of foodstuff offered to the deity and do this only, we will go back to Godhead.
So are you asking if it's true or not?
Yeah.
True.
How?
Wait, I mean, like, you have to also chant like the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and do devotional service of the Lord.
Very good. Yes, Divya. So it is false. He didn't say that just eat prasadam and eat prasadam only and you don't need to chant nothing less. So he said three things, right? Yeah, so you're right. Okay, the next question is, in the Shastras, there is a defect of propensity of cheating. You need to say true or false. Smriti?
False, Mataji. In the slide, in right in front, it says Shastra is without that defects. So
Wonderful. Yes, very nice. Okay. So let me go to the next thing. And anyone who has not answered so far, you can try and answer this. So if we don't read Bhagavad Gita also, it is fine. We can lead ourselves to a better destination.
False.
Why false, Tulsi Manjari?
Because Krishna spoke it himself, and he said that you need to that's the real words, and you need to follow that to go back to Godhead. And there's no other place better than Krishna's abode.
Wonderful, Tulsi. Wonderful. Okay. So there are, depending on the source, the miseries are of 4 types. True or false? Who can answer this? Depending on the source, the miseries are of 4 types. No one? Mukund, you know the answer for this. Just you need to say true or false. Depending on based on the source of the misery, if you classify, there are 4 types of miseries.
False.
Very good. So what's the right answer?
There's only 3.
3. Okay. And the next question is, if we, from passion, and even if we are in passion and ignorance, we can go back to Godhead. True or false?
No, false.
Vinita? Yes, Vinita?
I was gonna say false.
Okay, next question is for you, Vinita. So, those in the mode of goodness, they do not have the proper understanding of the Supreme Lord.
False.
So can you tell me what's the right thing?
People in the mode of goodness do have a right understanding of God because they're in the mode of goodness.
Very nice. Rather, people in the mode of passion and ignorance don't have the right understanding. So the next question goes to Tulasi Manjari. So it's optional to accept a spiritual master.
False.
Why?
Because you need this someone to guide you in the process.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And someone to guide you means someone living who is in contemporary like you, in the same living as in the planet, in your time, and then you talk to them, you accept them as a spiritual master, and they accept you as a disciple, not someone who's a previous spiritual master or who lived before. So Srila Prabhupada is our Siksha Guru, means he instructs. But he did not say that I will be your initiating spiritual master for the next so many generations to come. So he has his disciples, and then his disciples, and then his disciples. Like that way, there is parampara coming. And so we have to take guidance and diksha from a living spiritual master so that we can be guided right properly. Otherwise, even by reading Prabhupada's books, we might come into a conclusion on our own. If you don't see examples of Srila Prabhupada's disciples, how they are following it, we might misunderstand that. So it's very important to have a bona fide living spiritual master. Do you have any questions? Okay, it's over time now. Thank you all so much for attending today. And this will be the verse that we will memorize for the next week. So we are finished with chapter 16 and we will revise, maybe we revised it today. We can do a small open book test the next week. Just go through the 5 shlokas that we have done, and then we can go to chapter 70.
Yeah, but everybody's
Nice, Mataji. Mataji, if before test, if you can do for a 10 minutes revision also, if somebody needs 10-15 minutes, and then they can do test, because test does not take much time, right, Mataji? Usually
Mommy, can I do the test? Is it Kahoot?
No.
No, it's not Kahoot. Mainly, maybe we'll do a Google form. It will be very simple, and it's also open book. So we will do a revision, and then you can take the test.
Yeah, Mataji, it will be best because some Mukund and some kids who did not get to hear, they can hear a little bit and then they can do it. And
Yes, it
Mataji
will be
will be
very
asking,
easy.
putting easy question paper. Let's all try for it.
Yes, and also it will be mostly from the translation only, from 1, 2, 3, 4, 21 and 24.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you everyone for coming. So let's all offer obeisances to all the wonderful Vaishnavas here who have assembled. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
All the ki jai. Really not little kids. These kids are big kids. All big kids ki jai. Hari bol, closing the call.